What is up? I am GT Sali, and let's talk about time travel. Now, I've been seeing a lot of news articles talk about The Last of Us 2 with headlines like, The Last of Us 2 may see a number of characters heading into their past to try and change things, or game to feature time travel. Now, if you've played The Last of Us, then this sounds stupid, right? Nobody gets excited about the idea of Ellie and Joel traveling through time, trying to stop the infection from starting. So where did this idea come from? Well, if you've seen my last video, you'll know there's pretty strong evidence that Naughty Dog is working on The Last of Us 2. And by the way, if you haven't seen it, click here, or if you're on your phone, I'll leave a link in the description. Check it out. It's like a rumor roundup. It'll get you caught up on all the rumors so far. So we're pretty sure Naughty Dog is working on The Last of Us 2. Then Neil Druckmann, the creative director of The Last of Us, and more recently Uncharted 4, does an interview where he talks about a new story he's been working on. And he mentions, quote, the time-jumping story will revolve around a number of characters that jump back into the past to change events. The article goes on to speculate that, going by previous logic of time travel plots, the story will likely include both future and past gameplay, as the characters first change something in the past, then go back to the future, find things have gone wrong, and then head back to the past to change it. Now people see this, and they say Neil Druckmann, game director at Naughty Dog, is talking about time travel in a new story, and he's also known that The Last of Us 2 is in development. So, connect the dots, we will have time travel in The Last of Us 2, right? Wrong, and here's why. First of all, Neil Druckmann was being interviewed as a writer. He wasn't representing Naughty Dog in that interview. So, Neil Druckmann also writes books, as well as graphic novels, and he could have been talking about any story. It doesn't have to be The Last of Us 2. And second, if he is talking about a game and not a book, it could be any game. Yes, it's true that Naughty Dog is a pretty small game studio, and because of that, they only work on one project at a time. But they've grown over the years, and in 2011, they split into two teams, with one team working on Uncharted 3 and the other team working on The Last of Us. And more recently, one team working on Uncharted 4 and the other team working on, I'm guessing, The Last of Us 2. But I'm pretty sure they're no longer making any Uncharted games. So that leaves one team working on The Last of Us 2 and the other team working on Bingo, this new time-jumping game. But that raises another question. If Neil is writing this new story for this new project, then who's working on The Last of Us 2? Could they have passed that project on to someone else while Neil works on this new one? Well, first of all, if they really are making a sequel to The Last of Us 2, then I would definitely want Neil to be not only writing it, but working on it, because he's also the director, not just the writer. So I would definitely want him to have his hands on this project, because he did such a great job with the first one. And he was actually asked this question in a Game Informer interview, and here's what he said.
Could you guys ever see a sequel to The Last of Us made without you guys? Or do you want to be there for that entire journey?
Well, one, that's assuming there ever will be a sequel for The Last of Us, so that's a big assumption. So let's just say, if there was one, would I be okay if someone else did it? I don't know. That's a weird question.
You would not.
I would
I'll
probably
answer
not.
for Neil. He would not be okay with that.
Okay, so if it's true that The Last of Us 2 is in development, which is pretty strong evidence that it is, then we know for sure that Neil Druckmann is working on it. He's not okay with anyone working on this project. This is his baby. He worked on it. This is the first project he was given. It did incredible, and he's not going to pass the sequel on to someone else. We know for sure if The Last of Us 2 is in development, Neil Druckmann is working on it, right? So this time-jumping story could very well be a book or a graphic novel, which still leaves us with the question, what is Naughty Dog's second project then? It could be that the second team is just working on support for Uncharted 4, most likely DLC. But eventually they'll have to start a new IP, and maybe this new game is something we haven't heard anything about. It's much more likely for details to get leaked about a sequel than about a new game. People are looking for details. People are constantly typing in The Last of Us 2. So it's much more likely for stuff about The Last of Us 2 to get leaked than about some unknown project, because if something did get leaked, nobody would even know what it is, and it probably wouldn't make news. So I guess only time will tell. But one thing I could tell you almost certainly is that there will not be a Back to the Future featuring Joel and Ellie. So in conclusion, Naughty Dog is most likely working on two different projects. Neil will be working on The Last of Us 2 for sure. So that time-jumping story could be anything, but it ain't got nothing to do with The Last of Us. So Thank you for watching. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button to get all the latest news on The Last of Us. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit the like button and share the video with anybody you know who might like The Last of Us and might be interested in details for the second game. And let me know in the comments what you think. Are they actually going to time travel? Is it a good idea? Is that something that would even interest you, or is it too much of a departure from the original story? Until next time, I have been GT Sali.